followed by a presentation of the city budget to the Budget Committee. There is no general public comment time scheduled on the agenda. We have received inquiries about the possible siting of a micro shelter transitional housing site for people experiencing homelessness in Polk County at Christ Church in Monmouth. Currently, there are no active land use or permitting applications under review to locate a micro shelter housing site on Christ Church property in Monmouth. Monmouth's current zoning code does not permit micro shelter housing units in low-density residential zones. Any changes to the city's current zoning laws would require initiation by the city council at a future public meeting upon receiving requests from the property owner. Christ Church is hosting a meeting tonight at 7 p.m. open to the community for Church at the Park to inform, answer questions and concerns about their possible proposal. If a proposal does come before the city and residents want to be notified in the future, we have a sign-in sheet at our entrance table tonight, or they can contact our city recorder, Phyllis Bowman, who will put them on the list to receive notices. For information on any issues at upcoming city council meetings, visit the city's website at www.ci.monmouth.or.us and click on the button for agendas and minutes. With that, I actually would like to convene the Urban Renewal Agency in the City of Monmouth. So I will convene the Urban Renewal Agency and ask Phyllis for a roll call, please.
Ms. Beltz?
Present.
Mr. Carey?
Here.
Mr. Lopez?
Present.
Ms. McKeel?
Here.
Mr. Oberst?
Here.
Ms. Selena Oliveros? She's here. And
She dropped a
Ms.
note that said she can't hear anyone, Phyllis.
yeah, I got that.
We can't hear well either over the broadcast, so. I am present. At this time, we will accept citizen comments regarding our proposal this evening by the Urban Renewal Agency. If we have anyone online for that. Don't see anyone here in the room. And I don't see Phyllis saying we received any citizen comments regarding this issue. Our first item for the Urban Renewal Agency is the consent calendar consisting of our minutes of our previous meeting, which was April 4th of 2023. Any additions or corrections to those?
Move the meeting accepted.
Thank you, Ms. McKeel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Oberst. Moved and seconded to accept the minutes as submitted. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Sounds unanimous. We will move into our single business agenda item, and that is a grant request for an exciting project. And Suzanne Duffner, our city staff, community and economic development director, will give us the details.
All right. Thank you, and good evening, agency board members. I'm here to present the staff report for a general grant assistance request for Montessori School Expansion Project. We received an application in the amount of $15,000 to help fund the expansion of Montessori School. This would allow the school to provide additional classroom services through sixth grade. They're currently limited at first grade. So very exciting project. So it's approximately a 1,200 square foot on the south side of the building facing Main Street. This is on East Main Street, the corner of Main Street and Atwater. The proposed grant helps leverage $390,000 worth of project building improvements. So they have definitely met their match with this requirement. And the applicant has gone through the necessary land use approvals process. And they're currently in the process of getting their building permits approved now. So with the elementary classroom expansion, there's also going to be improvements to the parking lot area. They'll be adding an ADA accessible parking stall and also accessible walkways to get to the building from the parking area. The proposal is consistent with our urban renewal plan. The urban renewal plan sets goals and objectives that promote the increased business activity and employment opportunities in our commercial zones. This is a commercial area of town on just before the S curves, where we've seen a number of buildings such as the vet clinic having significant improvements made to them. So it's great to see that continued development and support for that with these funds. This project will help expand childcare and education services in our community, which, as we know through COVID, does help economic development. We need that childcare so that folks can be in the workforce. And it will also result in the hiring of new staff at the Montessori schools. So definitely consistent with those urban renewal objectives and our overall city objectives of improving ADA accessibility into our building spaces. So you have a copy of the application and the proposal before you. We're also joined by the Montessori school owner and property owner as well. Juliet Sloan is here, and thankfully she's been patient as we've had to reschedule this a couple times. So I'm very glad to have her here and also to help answer questions. When you're ready for them, there are some alternatives and a sample motion on the page 3 of the packet. Fiscal implications, we do have funding available to support this grant endeavor. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You, Ms. McKeel.
I don't know, this is pretty straightforward to me. I would just like to, I move to approve the general assistance grant application in the amount of $15,000 for the Montessori school expansion project located at 1140 Union Street East.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. McKeel, for the motion and Mr. Lopez for the second. Any questions? Mr. Carey.
I'm looking here on the detail, and I didn't see. It seems we've dealt with the parking. There's going to be a parking enhancement off-site or on-site rather. I recall that we have done something with that, and it's not a problem. So I'm just curious to make sure that we're all okay with that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the application has gone through the design review, land use approval process with the Planning Commission, where those decisions on meeting the parking requirements are met. There will be an ADA improvement space made on this particular property. And then there are parking spaces made available through adjacent properties within 500 feet to meet the balance of the parking needs for that. So thanks for clarifying that. They also own the parcel next to them. There's a house there that has a driveway with some additional parking for the staff. And then they have a written agreement with, I think it's the community health clinic site where they have 2 spaces there as well for their employees to be able to park.
I think it's noteworthy, and I'm glad to hear there's going to be ADA access closer. And that was part of the reason for my question. Okay, so we're good on the parking as it relates to coming off 51 there, Main Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Great. Other questions? All right.
Just like to congratulate Juliet on the move forward.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. All right. All in favor of this general assistance grant request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Seeing none, please go forth and write checks. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the urban renewal agency. And all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed, we are adjourned. And welcome to the Tuesday, May 2nd meeting of the Monmouth City Council. And I would entertain the roll call, please. Phyllis.
Counselor Belts,
Bill here?
Counselor Carey,
Here.
Counselor Lopez,
Present.
Counselor McKeel,
Here.
Counselor Oberst,
Here.
Counselor Salinas Oliveros,
Here.
Mayor Kunz.
I am present. And we do have one business agenda item tonight, and that is our second reading and adoption of our ordinance, zoning ordinance 1408. And Suzanne is still here too. Yes, Counselor, do you have something, John?
No,
You're just,
I'm just
rubbing your
squeezing the air.
all right. Thank you. Suzanne Duffner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, councilors. Yes, so I'll have the staff report for second reading of ordinance 1408. This is to formally adopt legislative amendment 23-01 to update our zoning ordinance and subdivision partition provisions in Title 17 and 18 of our Monmouth City Code. By way of background information, we've already had a public hearing on this back in March. The council had closed that hearing and recommended approval of that. We're just bringing the ordinance back to you for formal adoption tonight. There were a few minor tweaks that we made during the first reading. Those have been incorporated into the attached draft that you have before you tonight. The Planning Commission has also reviewed this and held a hearing in March, and that they have recommended approval with a couple of tweaks that they made, minor revisions along the way as well. This is, as you're aware, been a project that's been in the works for over 2 years now, so it's nice to see it coming forward for the final adoption. The code that is attached shows the final draft amendments in the red underlined strikeout mode, so you can see those changes. Exhibit B also includes findings in support of adopting the proposed changes. So, fiscal implications, we will need to adopt some new land use fees for new applications that weren't previously identified in our code, such as the parking determination. So that will be coming back to you in June as we update our applications. Once it's adopted, it actually takes 30 days before it goes into effect, so we have a little bit of time to do that. So, I wouldn't say that necessarily codes are perfect when you adopt them. We got to as much as we could with this update. It was a pretty big lift, but we were able to make a number of the significant changes that we identified when we started this project as a goal. So it's always a work in progress, and if there's things that we need to tweak as we go forward, we'll certainly bring those forward as needed. So thank you for all your hard work on that. There's a proposed motion when you're ready for it on page 3 in the packets. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah, I think, it's really important to note not only all the work that's gone into it by staff, by Planning Commission, by us, but really this meets so many of our goals. It makes changes to streamline and make development and uses in our city more transparent, more accessible, and encourages managed development of our cities. So this, along with our housing production strategy, I think really furthers our council goals of affordable housing, home ownership to create wealth, generational wealth, and promotes vitality, the kind of walkable cities we want, and really, really see this as a huge step forward. And it's been a lot of work, and really excited that we're at this point. So I would entertain a motion.
Well, I would just like to note that this has been a long haul. And there are some things here that I'm going to talk about that I'm not going to let. Perfection get in the way of pretty awful darn good. So with that, I would like to propose that we adopt ordinance 1408 An ordinance adopting legislative amendment 23-01 to title 17 and 18 among the zoning ordinance relating to subdivisions, partitions, and zoning.
I'll second.
Thank you, Counselor Oberst for the motion and Counselor McKeel for the second. Any additional questions or comments? Phyllis, could you please take the roll call?
Counselor Oberst,
Yes.
Counselor McKeel,
Yes.
Counselor Belts,
Yes.
Counselor Lopez,
Aye.
Counselor Salinas Oliveros,
Aye.
Counselor Carey.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Well, thank you very much. All right, Suzanne, now we'll try to find something else for you to do.
What was that, Suzanne? 2.5 years old?
Yeah.
Right.
Going on 3 years, 2020. Yeah.
Because I was on the planning commission
Yeah.
when it started.
Yeah, COVID was set up starting in, so it's been a while.
So this is where they ask after the Super Bowl, now what are you going to do?
Yes, you know what it is. All right, I would at this time entertain a motion to adjourn our council.
I'll make that motion again.
Thank you again. All in favor of that again, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned and we will set up for our first budget meeting.
Yes, we'll be back at 6:30. We have a few minutes, thank goodness. So, I might get on.